Well, hello there, goblins and ghouls. So today we're going to be talking about Malignant. It's a horror slash psychological thriller movie that was released way back in 2021. Well, that wasn't that long ago. And I personally missed a chance to see it in the movie theater, even though I actually work in a movie theater, but I just didn't get around to seeing this one, so I was kind of excited to finally see it. And you know what? It's actually pretty decent. I can already say that not everyone will enjoy it, which you can say about pretty much every single movie ever, but some movies just aren't really going to be understood by everyone and appreciated. And really, Malignant is sort of obviously one of those movies. The film was directed by James Wan, who is known for his work on popular horror franchises such as Saw, Insidious, and The Conjuring. And on that note, I really wouldn't be that surprised if Malignant did have a sequel or two, or who knows, maybe like way more than that in the future. It really all depends. The plot of the movie revolves around Madison Mitchell, a woman who begins to experience terrifying visions of brutal murders. As the murders begin to occur in real life, Madison realizes that her visions are actually premonitions and she sets out to uncover the truth behind them. So the movie stars Annabelle Wallis as Madison, along with George Young, Nicole Brianna White, and Maddie Hassan. Malignant received mixed reviews from critics and audiences, with some praising its unique blend of horror and action, while others found the plot to be convoluted and confusing. Despite this, the movie has gained a dedicated following already among horror fans and is already considered to be a cult classic by some. So, as for my additional thoughts, well, it begins with a pregnant woman named Madison who returns home, and her husband, is played by Jake Abel, and he's pretty convincing as the abusive husband named Derek, and he's there waiting for her to, do abusive husband stuff. Well, I'm sure you can imagine what some of that is, and sure enough, he's a brutal jerk. So his unspeakably horrific and pathetic violence seems to jar something loose in Madison's brain or something like that. And this movie is overwhelmingly about trying to figure out what the hell is going on. If you watch it and are still somewhat confused, I doubt you'll be the only one. The movie's sort of all over the place. It's crawling on the floor, on the ceiling, uh, in the corner, front and center. It's really all over the place with sometimes almost matrix like action sequences and certain freaky occurrences. Like so many other movies, it's best to just let Malignant sort of wash over you and don't overthink it. And you might appreciate it better if you have that sort of approach, the sort of freewheeling approach. And by the time the attack is over, you won't know what hit you, but you might appreciate it anyway. To me, this movie is about some pretty literal duality and the chemistry one has with a twin aspect of their character, sort of like a nearby mirror, only in this case a little too nearby and too close to truly escape from, especially without having a bunch of other people die in the process. And you start to wonder maybe the main character would actually need to die in order to sort of solve this movies. Jesus Christ, I just called it a movie. Maybe I was thinking of like an Uzi machine gun or something. But anyway, but I kind of botched that. I lost my train of thought here. But anyway, when the truth finally finds Madison, it's akin to leaving her unconscious or with a near fatal bout of amnesia. I mean, it's one of those interesting things where to discover the truth is really just to put yourself in a very strange situation from which she may never return. Her mind is the swamp ready to feed her to the proverbial alligators. There are other characters in Malignant, but you probably won't be focused on them very much. Even the closest ones might as well be Madison's neighbors just checking in on her, maybe giving her advice, having a few action sequences or whatever. Really, the main focus is on the character of Madison and, the villainy that is unfolding as part of her world. I'm not trying to downplay the other actors' performances so much as say that in a story that's mind bending and sort of dreamlike as this one is, I think most of the characters will sort of pass by in a blur, possibly including the main ones. Really, what will stick with you most is whatever impression the movie leaves you with, if there really is one at all. It's possible that you'll find the story and the action too disorienting and maybe you'll kind of tune it out or something like that. I could actually see that happening because some people, I don't know, their brains might just not be built to appreciate a movie like Malignant. What I will say is that overall this movie doesn't have all of the standard horror cliches, though most of the action occurs at night, which is sort of thought to be a horror movie cliche, though not always horror movies will do that, you know. And when it does have cliches, they don't really stand out, at least not for me. I don't remember a scene where a potential victim accidentally drops the house key as the killer approaches, or the woman conveniently trips and falls, or whatever sort of slasher movie stereotype and trope you can think of. There really aren't that many things like that in this movie. There may be circumstances allowing characters like Derek the asshole to escape, but they're not to be conventionally understood. You don't really understand why some characters might survive or what you could possibly do to get away from the villain. That's all part of the mystery, I guess. And so here's the part where I mentioned the bad guy in case you wanted to avoid that as part of a spoiler alert, for some reason. So the crazy feats of Gabriel are physically performed by Marina Mazepa. I believe that's how her name is pronounced. And Gabriel is voiced by Ray Chase. Man, I can't pronounce things right now. But anyway, that's basically the name of the quote unquote villain of the piece, Gabriel. And really, the first time we see Gabriel as a threat, it's really right in the start of the movie, so it's really not that much of a spoiler. And it's really a weird battle against Dr. Weaver, who's played by Jacqueline McKenzie. And we get only a tangential sense of how this initial battle ties into Madison's ongoing predicament. If Gabriel really did exist and eventually died, I think the fellow would make a curious exhibit at a place like the American Museum of Natural History, and maybe they could call it a discovery of the power within or something like that. So, is the movie scary? I'd say potentially, yeah. And also definitely mind bending. Are there plot holes that could trip someone up? Also, definitely, yes. But you might as well stuff your thoughts on those plot holes back into your skull and just see what there is to see. You might actually like Malignant, even though I can't make any promises. So go ahead and check it out, make up your own mind, and grapple with your own inner demons.